this is a quick vlog for June 3rd. I just wanted to say that I've been back and forth on whether to quit Blood of Beast and not finish it and not do the contest, and whether or not to keep going, because I don't want to get into a habit of quitting, and I also don't want to get into a habit of where I don't write full-length novels. So right now I just wanted to note this because I may forget later, but I wanted to mention that I decided that I'm going to write in it if I feel like it, and not officially give up, but not like hold myself back from working on other projects, and just write when I'm inspired to write. And if I do finish it in time for the deadline, then that's great. But if not, I'm not going to feel bad about or guilty about not finishing it. I have to go, so I won't be writing until a lot later. It's like maybe 2 o'clock, 2:30, somewhere in there in the afternoon. So I just wanted to get this done and, vlog this real quick before I forgot, because by the time I vlog later tonight, if I vlog later tonight, I probably would have forgotten about this. So this is my next vlog for Blood of Beasts. I know the last time we talked, I was not sure whether I wanted to write or not. I'd come to the conclusion that I was just going to not write, but not feel pressured or not directly quit either. And I was kind of like neutral on everything. And I hadn't written and haven't written for a couple of days. I don't exactly know how many days, but it is June 4th right now. And I wrote 2,972 words today, and I finished the book. So I obviously did not get it to full-length novel form, and also the contest requires books to be 60,000 words long at least. I did not get it that far, so it will not be eligible for the contest. But I felt like I was nearing the end and that this book was over with, and I started and because of that, I was like, it's going to not be long enough, but I feel like it's more important to tell a complete story from beginning, middle, and end, rather than trying to force that story into a certain word count, like, restriction. And so it's more important that the book ends here rather than trying to stretch it out when it didn't need to be. So this is my very first mystery book, and it is a novella, and I felt like unaccomplished because, it's just a novella, so it's not a book, and I felt like it's not a story, so I shouldn't feel excited because I didn't write a book, I didn't write a novel. But people online, ignore my dog, people online were talking about how, novellas, short stories, flash fictions, they're still stories and they're still books, so you need to feel accomplished whenever you finish a story. That's still an accomplishment. And so I feel better knowing that I need to let go of this idea that if I don't write a novel, then I didn't do anything worth celebrating. But the fact is, I wrote a story, and that is worth celebrating. So again, I wrote 2,972 words today, so almost 3,000 words. The final word count of the book is 27,243. So it's just under 30K. So that's the book. It's, again, June 4th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:46 in the afternoon. So I finished it today. This is the final vlog for Blood of Beast. I really enjoy vlogging my progress, so I'm hoping to actually do that on a book that actually gets to be novel sized one day, but we'll see how that goes. So it's 81 pages right now, but that's of course with the font that I'm using for the sake of like writing and getting inspired for it. So real quick, we're just going to delve in and I'll scroll through here in a minute. Also, when I first started writing today, I wasn't intending to write. I was like, okay, I'm just going to see how much of this I can get outlined and see if I couldn't get the rest of the book outlined. I ended up outlining it, and as I was outlining, I was starting to get an ending in mind, and I just kind of like went that way, and I was like, okay, and before I knew it, I wrote the ending of the book, well, the outline for it, and I was like, I feel like it's more important that I finish the story and make it a complete story rather than trying to drag out a book that would just be boring and filled with fluff, where the book actually is just go ahead and, going to be ended, so to speak. So then I actually was like, oh, it's not that much. So I skipped some of that stuff in the outline because, again, I started outlining it with the intention of trying to drag it out. But when I actually got in here, started writing, I felt a way to skip all that stuff and go straight into the ending. And that's the way I felt the story needed to be told. So I started with chapter 17 and I just wrote and stuff. So and I ended up finishing it, and including an author's note. So this word count includes a little bit of an author note at the end, just because I wanted to go ahead and write one since it was fresh in my mind. And then so that includes in the word count that I wrote for today and in the total word count for the book. So let's take a look at that. So I also wanted to note really quickly that this chapter 17, and the ending, I actually really got into it, and it was emotional and it was dramatic and really intense. And so I feel like it's a really good ending for the book. I feel like it's really emotional and very dramatic and intense. And so I actually really did get into it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to rush through this and end it just to be done with it. It was like, no, this is the actual ending of the book, and this is the best ending for the story, and this is where I want to take it, and this is what's meant to be, and this is the most emotional, most dramatic, intense way to end the book, and that's the one I went with. And so I wanted to just make note really quickly here that I actually did really, really get into the ending, and I really got into the emotions and the intensity of it all. And it just really clicked with me. So I didn't want spoilers, so I zoomed way out. Hopefully you can't read that. We'll leave it like that. So I wrote this page. So this was all that I wrote. So it was chapter 17, the epilogue, which was this, and then my author's note here. So again, it was 2,972 words that I wrote today, and the whole book is 27,243 for Blood of Beasts. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this vlogging process of me writing Blood of Beasts, and I hope that you really enjoyed seeing an inside look of how it works when I write a novel, come up with an idea for it, when I get stuck, and sometimes when it doesn't work out that it's going to be a novel and it's just going to be a novella. But again, it's still an accomplishment. It's still a completed story. It was still my first mystery that I wrote, so I feel like I still should be accomplished and celebratory of it. So I hope that you've enjoyed this process. And if you'd like to see more vlogs of my writing process, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching.